Another benefit of mirroring, other than high availability, is disaster recovery. This particular diagram is an illustration of my mirror, which is my HA solution, my high availability solution, in my data center in New York. And because I am very worried and I want to have very high level of assurance of my data, I decide to have not one, but 6 copies of my data in real time be sent across all over the United States. So I have one data center in Boston, one in Chicago, Los Angeles, et cetera, et cetera. And all of these are getting updated by the mirroring technology. These systems are called asynchronous mirror members. These are all getting updated by the mirror in real time. The only difference between the 2 failover members and an asynchronous mirror member is that the asynchronous mirror member does not allow automatic failover. So if a disaster strikes the New York data center and both my failover members are they're not available anymore, and I want to use the one in Los Angeles as my production system, it requires a disaster recovery type switch over to that system. But you have all of your data live and online. Okay? For mirroring, we want to have rapid automatic failover. Okay? So a simplified version of what that means and what we demonstrated as part of that first demo is the primary member fails, the backup member takes over, ECP clients, which is the app servers that we use, they just simply pause. And then when the other system takes over, they resume working. And external applications that are connecting through the VIP, through the virtual IP, they just have to reconnect. It's like a telnet or an SSH. If you're connecting to a system and it goes down and it comes back, you have to reconnect to it. Okay? We want this technology to be able to provide to you a seamless fail-back, which we demonstrated when the roles changed from Bob to Fred and back to Bob. And we want this technology to take seconds instead of minutes, because we know how much downtime can cost. And we'll take a look at that in a second. Another thing we would like to provide by way of this technology is to give you a way to achieve a model for minimum or 0 downtime upgrades. Sounds fantastic. And it's actually doable. If you use mirroring with ECP and follow a set of steps, you can achieve very, very minimum, almost close to 0 downtime upgrades. And this is great because then you can keep your customers, your users, and your customers on the latest versions of cache and the latest versions of your application while minimizing the downtime or disruption for your users. Okay? So, I'm going to put this entire slide up. The question here is, what does downtime mean to you? What does it cost to you? Okay? There are some estimates up here. I am by no means an expert in this. I did not come up with these numbers. I did research and, wow, this changed to a finger. I did some research and said, okay, Gartner, which is a publishing company that does a lot of research, estimates that for an IT organization, 1 hour of downtime costs that organization $42,000. I don't know how they did their math, but this is what they're reporting. Okay? Healthcare IT, which is another magazine that follows healthcare trends, and they also have a website. They estimate that a healthcare organization, it costs $72,000 per hour of downtime. A very large global investment bank, who is actually one of our customers, did some research and looked at what the impact of 1 hour of downtime would be to their organization from the perspective of lost trades. It was $6 million, okay, 1 hour, okay? And PayPal estimates that they would lose $7.2 million in transactions per hour if their systems were down, okay? So the question is, you know, what does downtime cost to you and to your organization? And the answer varies, but we want to provide something that minimizes the amount of time that a system is down, even for things like planned maintenance. Gartner estimates that the cost of availability, as you go from 95% system availability to 99.9%, which is just 3 nines, right? You can have 4 nines, 5 nines, 6 nines, all the way down here. Go from 95% to 99.9%. At some point it goes up, and then at some point it just skyrockets. So this is how much it costs you, in general, using traditional technologies to implement very high levels of availability. And we want to make this level and beyond available to you at a very, very low cost. We took an example track care configuration. One configuration from the small category where they had one system in a failover cluster and no ECP. One medium configuration that had a couple of ECP clients, and one large configuration that had many ECP clients. These are live, actual customer configurations. And we looked at what their hardware cost, which is in blue, using the old technology, which is cluster, failover clustering. And then we reconfigured each of these systems to use mirroring. And we found that in most cases, we were able to save roughly 50%, 40 to 50% in the cost of hardware and software licensing by switching from clustering to mirroring. And not only that, but we are able to provide a much faster failover time than traditional HA solutions. So it's a win-win. Increased availability, lower cost. Okay, so quickly in summary, mirroring provides 4 main benefits, and those benefits are high availability, disaster recovery, business continuity, and business intelligence. You can use the asynchronous mirror members to achieve good configurations for BI. Since I have a very short time, I wanted to compress this a little bit, but I want to leave you with some information that you can do research on. There's a website that we have created, intersystems.com/HA. HA stands for high availability, as you're all aware. And this is a very good website for you to visit. It talks about our philosophy on high availability. It talks about mirroring specifically. On the left side, you get some examples. You get a frequently asked questions section, which you can visit and see how this technology is different from failover clusters. See how this technology can help you. Okay. There's a section for technology architects, for executives, and there's one more that's not shown over here, which is for system administrators. So planning for mirroring. How do you implement mirroring? What are your networking considerations? Things like that. The other thing that I would encourage you to look at is in the product, starting from version 2010.2, you can find this high availability guide, which has been updated to include all mirroring information. So it's essentially achieving high availability. You have a printout of where to find this guide.